Hey folks, this story today is called One Old House Full to the Brim. I have it on my blog as well, so if you want to read it, it might be better there, who knows. Or you can listen to me babble on. Anyway, when I'm out picking in the country, I like to get talking with people, farmers and townspeople and such. It really is part of the business, part of picking, and a good way to find leads. So you get telling stories, and they get telling stories back, and some stories of all kinds kind of pop up. Some are funny, and some are drama-packed, and some are life-enriching with lessons and such. There's some that are highly educational. You meet people with some great stories, live some wonderful lives. You never know what a person's done just by seeing their surroundings, or the fact they're living on a farm or living in town or whatever. There's some stories are kind of like this one. One of my trips, I was traveling kind of in a remote area, central Manitoba, and it started to rain. Just drizzle, kind of a real downer, but overcast and such. I ended up doing some scouting around, some door knocking, and didn't have any success really. I did stop at one farmyard though, and after some conversation with the owners, I got a tour of the property. I ended up spending much of the day with them, and really nice folks, hoping to reconnect in the future. They happen to own what used to be originally a bunch of smaller properties, and they put it all together in one holding, and sort of saving the some of them are original stands of tamaracks, and they're trying to hopefully sell it to somebody who doesn't log the area, because that area is being logged quite heavily, and there's not a lot of original virgin tamarack forest still standing in that area. But anyway, they've got this large land holding now, and they showed me this little tiny cottage. Didn't stick out, just a little tiny thing, perfectly square, basically, quaint little thing. But anyway, they showed me this little building, and it was just kind of a tongue and groove on the outside, but it turned out it was all made of tamarack logs, Ukrainian built, not over the top Ukrainian decoration or anything, but very traditional the way it was built, chinked logs with mud and hay and that sort of thing. And anyway, it's still anything like that I see, it's like, oh, treasure. It could be full of stuff. So I asked about it, and got to see inside. And this one was full, but not of treasure. Basically, I'll give you kind of a short version of what the story was. It was built in the early-ish 1900s by a young Ukrainian farmer. This guy was in love. He built the thing entirely by hand, like I said, of logs chinked with clay and mud, and then the outside was kind of a shiplap, I guess, or plank construction. And basically, he harvested the wood from the land around it, just like any settler's property. And he carved out kind of a homestead out of the bush. Kind of in the backwoods at that time, would have been off the beaten path. Still is off the beaten path, actually. And it's just a tiny Ukrainian community. Living with like-minded people and carving an existence, basically, out of the woods. I'll add a few photos here. I'll add just some detail photos and such. I'm just referring to my blog a little bit here, so, but I'll insert a photo here of what you'll see is the interior structure of the building. And as I said, it was full, but not of treasure, unfortunately. It's not really full per se. It was overflowing. The sadness that it contained, basically, well, it was kind of a million pieces of this guy's heart. You see, when the home was finished, the couple were going to be wed, going to get married, and the woman deserted him and left the community just to be with another man. And this house, this little tiny house, this handmade house, was never occupied. His heart was shattered. His house was never made into a home. And I'll add a few photos here as well. You know, there's the windows you could look out, and basically nobody has ever looked out them. It's just a sad story, but anyway, we'll add a few photos here. So, what happened to this heartbroken groom-to-be? Well, he went to live with his brother, his bachelor brother, and he remained a bachelor his entire life, as did his brother. They stayed in the community their entire lives, lived within a country mile of that house. That house remained empty, never lived in, never rented, never occupied, aside from squatters in the last 20 years. But the house itself, like I said, was empty, never used as storage even. It remained empty that entire time. Didn't see a family, didn't see a soul. Never was lived in. Just a hand-hewn testament of love carved out of the Canadian wilderness, and became a little-known monument to heartbreak. So, anyway, that's it for now. Happy picking, safe picking. Take care.